For a long time now, I've resisted the urge of buying a power station, but I've succumbed to this little one from Amazon. The first bit of fun me and her indoors had is trying to say the name. We think that's an AWANFI. So here's the unboxing and my first thoughts, having not even opened the box or looked at the instructions or anything. Shit. So before we open it, we can see that the little stink is looking on interestingly or waiting for her dinner. Right, back to the power station. So it's an AWANFI, I think 500 watts, or claims to be 500 watts. Let's get the box open. One of the reasons I bought this, which seems a bit ridiculous, is it comes with quite a lot of cables and it comes in this bag. Now, why do you get excited by a bag? Well, I lose everything, and if it all comes in one bag, it should stay together. So first thoughts are, the bag's quite good. The whole thing's heavy, but not ridiculously heavy. So let's see what's in the bag. Right, so opening the bag, we have some instructions. Who's going to read those? A little bag, rather neat, which I'm guessing is full of all the various bits and bobs. So in there you've got a carry strap for the bag, not really necessary, it's not that heavy. Shoulder strap. The mains cable, this is a UK plug obviously, just an ordinary kettle cable. A charger so you can charge from your car a cigarette lighter socket when you're driving, that will be useful. A solar panel plug-in, so that's a cable that would charge directly from a solar panel. Don't forget, these power stations have inbuilt solar charge controllers, so you would plug that direct from the solar panel into her, not via the solar charge controller, because it's inbuilt. Now I think they're about 15 or 19 volts direct from the solar panel, and that take care of that. And then we've got the ordinary mains charger, which obviously is used in connection with that power lead. Right, so over to the main little device itself. So there she is. Comes in a nice little bag. I'm sure I'll find a use in that, or where does can store dirty knickers in it, I don't know. The bag is separated, so the main controller and then all the accessories. And there she is. So on the front, we've got a mains plug for the little inverter part of it. A 12 volt, what most people call cigarette lighter. And this DC 12 volt 10 amp. Don't know what those are. That's the input, which is DC 12 volt up to 36 volts, so you could put in a big voltage if you had more solar panels. Then you've got a USB-C, which I think is 30 watts, a USB-A, which is 18 watts, a 2.5 amp, so two USBs. On the rest of it, there's nothing else, just two handles and so on. So to switch it on, one assumes you press that, sits that on, so it's at 68%. The output is 0 and the input obviously 0 because it's not charging. I'm guessing this is the light, and you press it once and you get a nice bright light actually. Press it again, you get an annoying flashing light. Press it a third time, you get an even more annoying light, and third time off. So on, if you want it off, 1, 2, 3. Each one of these you switch on, a little green light comes on, so you're giving power to that. That's obviously the 240 volts. You hear a little fan start up, and these are the USB connections. So quite a small little unit. If that's 500 watts, I'll eat my hat, but that's what it says it is. Alright, looking at the instructions, there's actually quite good instructions that these two, which is item 14, they're just DC 12 volt outputs of those little plug sites. So you've got the normal cigarette lighter, as people call it, and then these two are 12 volt out, and that's the input. These are all USBs with a USB Type C, which you'd probably go to USB-C to C, and they're the 240 or 230 volt output that we're used to in the UK. So these are quite good. You'd need leads that would work on those, and I haven't seen them. They're 5.5 by 2.1, I'm guessing centre positive. So that's something that can be tested. So yeah, immediately a nice little unit. I know it's a ridiculous thing to say, but I particularly like the bag, because it means you'll keep everything together and not lose it. But the first little test we've done, because you can work out and do all the figures in this, and that's all very good and all very scientific, and the nerds and the geeks love it, or you can just try things. So we've got her indoors little travel hairdryer, which is, I think it's about 1,000 watts. So we plugged it in, switched that on, and now indoors switch it on. And it does indeed work, and there's heat coming out of there. That will drag that percentage down quite quick, I imagine. And if you could switch it on again, please, indoors. And it's actually pulling 2 kilowatts. That is quite incredible. It's now down to 1 kilowatt. Obviously, initial heat up, and then switch off. So that is quite good. You wouldn't want to run that very long at all, and obviously you would want the solar going in as well, but it's something that you could quickly use. Now the big test for indoors is GHB hair straighteners, so let's find them and give those a go. We're going to try the ultimate test, which is why I have to get these things, is for indoors to straighten a hair. There was a time you paid for curly hair, so let's see how it will work with these. So if we switch it on, immediately it's made the blip, and it's drawing 1,000 watts or 800, 700. How long does that normally take?
Just a minute.
Just a minute.
Hot enough now.
There you go, hot enough. It's worked, and they're up to temperature. And yes, that was hot. So that is successful, but it is dragging it down. It's dragging it down to 63%, and they haven't been on long. How long would you usually take to do your straighteners?
10 minutes.
10 minutes, oh my goodness. Well, we'll see, because obviously it's just down to 46 watts now, because it's done the initial heat. So I am impressed with that. That will do what she wanted to do. Right, now as far as I'm concerned, this is the ultimate test. It still says it's 66%. I've got a little travel kettle there with enough water, or it's about a 900 watt kettle, enough water to make a cup of coffee. Let's see what happens. This kettle doesn't have a light. Yes, it does. It's on the back here, and the light is on. It says it's putting out 723 watts. If you listen, you can hear the kettle starting. This will drag it down, I imagine, but let's see how we do. I'll bring you back if it boils it and tell you how long it took. But as you see, it's still going. It's gone down to 48% though. Still pulling about 722 watts. And the kettle is gurgling away. And the water feels quite hot. This isn't what I would do. I wouldn't put a boiling kettle on this. It's not what I bought it, but it's a good little test. Any moment now, the water is moving. This cost about £230 from Amazon on a voucher. It was on a voucher. £60 off voucher. So if you do get a buy, make sure you click the little box so you get the 60 quid off. It was delivered in one day, and it wasn't on Prime one day, but it was pretty good. So where are we going now? I'm pretty impressed with that. As I say, if it can do that, if it can run her little hair dryers for a short time, run her a good hair day, hair straighteners, which of course are vital to life. One couldn't live without those. And if it can boil a kettle and do a few other things, and it peaked up there at 2,000 watts, it could run a power tool or something if you had quickly had need for it. So pretty good. The water now is pretty hot. We're down to 42%. This hasn't been charged. I've used it out of the box, as you can see. Why would anyone sit and watch a kettle boil? The kettle is now starting to steam at the spout. It's only been a few minutes, not any time that you would consider bad. I'm quite impressed with that, because from 66 to 40% so far, I think is good for such a small unit. Can't feel any heat coming from the unit at all. And the water is now boiling. This kettle has a problem of switching off sometimes, so hopefully it will switch off to demonstrate. The water is now boiling. I will make a cup of coffee out of it as I've boiled it. And we're at 38%. And the kettle is now switched off. Let's see how this recovers. It's down to 1 watt. It's saying 39%. I'm quite impressed with that. So that's my little AWANFI power station. I never thought I'd buy a power station, so I started off with a small one to give it a go, and actually quite pleased with it. Thanks for watching. So in summary, this is what you get for about 239 quid. I had a little dog that's only interested in its dinner and go and see its mummy, but you get quite good instructions, a little bag for all the leads. That's the lead to charge off your car cigarette lighter. That's the main charging brick. That's the main charging cable, which is a very common kettle lead, which is useful if you lose it. That's a solar panel lead. The silly little carry thing for the bag, and the bag that I really like, and of course the power station itself. So not bad, and I was very impressed with what it did. So there it all is bagged up, and for scale, that's an iPhone 8 on there. So quite small, very easy weight. You get a little strap and handle for the bag. So pleased with the bag. I know I keep going on about it, but if not, I'd lose all those cables in seconds. Someone's ate all the dinner.